So hey guys, welcome to the series of CSS. In the previous video, we were learning about the various properties of CSS. We learned about how to apply horizontal rule. We were learning various applications of CSS. But in today's video, we will be learning about how to put background colors and how to use font size and text transform properties to align our elements in a different way. We will be learning more things regarding the font size, font variables, and how to change the colors of the links. So let's begin. So I guess you will be knowing that we have done till now. Let me show you what exactly I'm talking about. Let us open it with live server. As you guys can see, we learned till here, we have done our work. Okay. So now let's do one thing. Let's begin with another topic. In today's video, let's do one thing. We will be giving, little background color to our heading as it is not looking appropriate, right? We have to make it stand out. So let's do one thing. Let's go to our heading section. I guess this is our heading section. And this particular property is known as background color property of text. So what exactly I can do here is I will give a background color to this and I will give an appropriate value, right? So for this, I will be using RGB. Okay. So as you can see, it says red, green, blue, and one alpha. So what exactly this alpha does, it is, it can range from 0 to 1. Okay. And it defines how color intensity should be. Like if it's 0, it will be like completely transparent. And if it's little 0 0.1, 0 0.2, so it will be little opaque some sort of. So yeah, it happens like that. Let me show you what exactly I'm talking about. So for this, I will be giving some different values, which is like just 45. Okay. So for everything, I will give a 45 value. Okay. And for this particular alpha, I will give it a 0.2. So it will be like some sort, let me check. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, it looks like somewhat like this, right? You can see now whatever the value was there for the container, like this heading container was having this much width and this much height. So now this whole container has changed its color. This is how background property of a text works. Now it's not looking a little appropriate, so let's give it another. It's called border radius. Okay. And I will give it around 10 pixels. Okay. Let's check. Now it's looking a little better, right? Because now that border is a little curvy in shape. Previously it was looking like a boxy kind of like, so yeah, now it's looking fine. Now let us notice little bit things about our property. Like see, in this text, our heading is standing out, right? But sometimes what happens is sometimes our heading will not stand out. Like if I will give it a H5 heading or H6 heading, it will be exactly same as the size of a paragraph tag. But technically it should not happen, right? Because it's a heading. It should stand out. So what exactly you can do is you can adjust the size of the heading. Okay. Like let me show you font size, which should be around 50 pixels. Let's see how it's looking like. See, this is what I'm talking about. Now see, the heading has become actually a little big. Let me make it 30. Yeah, 30 looks nice. Hey, so this is how you can adjust the size. Similarly, we can do the same thing for our paragraph as well. Okay, let's do one thing. Let us go to our paragraph. There is our content. And instead of 30, let's give it a 10. See, it has become even more small now. But not to worry, we'll give it a 20. So this is how you can adjust the size of the text in HTML using CSS properties. So now let's move on and now let's study about another property that is box shadow. So what exactly is a box shadow? Okay, so box shadow properties applies shadows to an element. Like suppose in this particular example, you can see here that this particular element, okay, see here, it is right now containing the whole width of the element, right? But by chance, instead of containing the whole width, if this particular box was having a right corner or a left corner, then how to stand it out using a box shadow property? What this property will does that it will provide shadows like on x-axis and y-axis, so that this particular box will be standing out from the other remaining boxes. Like suppose if I will give him offset x, right, offset x, so what it thing will does, it will give a shadow horizontally to the element, like x direction, x axis. And if I will give him offset y, then it will give vertical shadows vertically to the element. Okay, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's do one thing. Let me first take style. Let me first go to the style and let me arrange the width of these elements. Okay, this is the style. Let me go to the styled element and let me arrange its width. So here is our style, and here I will give it a width of around 500 pixels. Let's check. See, this is what I was talking about right now. Now our this container is shifted towards some sort of here, right? Let us even give it a little margin. See, what exactly we can do here is to do some editing. I'm going to use such a cool feature which every browser has. It's to inspect our elements. So I'm going to go right click and click on inspect. Then it will be taking me around. Then now what I will be doing here is I will click on body and I will select my div. See, here you can see clearly that it is having margin and padding and everything, right? So let's do a little bit of adjustments. Okay, now here we will add one more property. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go there and let's add from here itself. What we will do here is we will add a little margin of around 50 pixels. Okay, what it will do here is it will give left margin of about 50 pixels. Let's check it here. See, if you will inspect this, then you will see that we have got a margin of about 50 pixels right here. What exactly I'm doing here is I have changed the margin a little bit. As you can see here, I am using inspect properties to align the margin. You can see I'm using margin properties to align our elements in a proper way, right? So see, as you can see here, we have given it a margin. Now let's copy this. Now let's copy these values and just paste it right here. Okay. And we'll check it out so you can see that our properties are just working fine, right? So what we have to do here is we have to make it stand out, right? So what we will be doing, we will be using box shadow properties. Okay. Let's come here and we'll give here box shadow properties. See, what we can do here is we can give multiple box shadows like on multiple axes, like on x-axis and y-axis as well, by using a single comma. We don't have to write the full statement again and again. Let me show you what exactly I'm talking about. Okay, so here I have written a box shadow property. Now what we will do here is we will give a little value, okay, like 0 pixels, then 10 pixels. So what exactly I've written here is I'm just using the rule, clockwise rule. Like 0 pixels means that this box shadow property should come at 0 pixels from top. Okay, then I will write 10 pixels. That means 10 pixels from right. Then I will write another 10 pixels. That means 10 pixels from down. And that's it. I'm not gonna give for left side. Okay. Now let's come to the color. Like what exactly color I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it 0, 0, 0, which is completely black, right? 0.1. No, it's kind of little bit of grayish color, So this is for offset x, that is x-axis. I will just use a single comma. Okay. Then again, I will give. So I'm using single comma. This was for offset x. Now I will be using for offset y. So I don't have to write this full statement again. I can just completely do a comma and then again I will write pixels. So again 0 pixels for top and 5 pixels for right Again, around 5 pixels for down and 0 pixels for left side. Now again, I will write RGBA. Okay. Inside this, I will be giving some sort of color that is 0, 0, 0, 0.30. What exactly I have done is I have just given alpha value. That means whether it should be gray color, whether it should be transparent or little bit dull. See, let's check how exactly our text is looking. Like you can see here, guys, that it's having little bit of shadows, right? But it's not coming that much properly, right? So let's do one thing, increase the proper values. Let's give it around 18. Now let's check. See, now it is having some sort of shadows, right? As you can see, little shadows it's having. So it's, you can see it properly, right? That yeah, some sort of container it's there, right? See, like this. So this is how you can give box shadows, and you can, make it little more visible, little more attractive, as if like this box was having shadows. So this is how box shadow works. Okay. Let's change little more values. See. So this is our final product that we got. So see, this is how the box shadow property can be used. Okay. And you guys can do little more practice by implementing it again and again and again and using different values, so you will be better understanding the concept. Okay. So now let's come to another properties. Like right now you can see here, right, that this is some sort of link. Okay. Now I want that one of these links should be less visible, less, clear. It should be little in the background. So what we can do here is we can use opacity property. What it does is it can be, used to make the text clear or little fade. It's like if the value is 1, then it's opaque, little bit visible, little bit transparent, but completely not transparent at all. If the value is less than 0.5, then it's half see-through. That means if it is halfly visible. And if it's completely zero, okay, and it's completely zero, it means that it's completely transparent and all. Now let me show you what exactly I'm talking. Let's do one thing, that in this, I want that CSS should be more visible than HTML. So what I will be doing here is, HTML is here, right? Let's give it ID of HTML, and let's give it an ID of CSS. Okay. Now let's use ID, right? So to use an ID, we will use the star, then we'll use HTML. Now what I will be doing here is I will give it an opacity of around 0.5. Okay. So see, now HTML is halfway see-through, like it's half, right? It's not clearly visible, not clearly transparent. If I give this completely 0, then you see it is went. It is completely transparent. It's not gone. It's there. If I will hover it, it's coming a click button. So let's do one thing. For this, I will be giving it an opacity of 0.6, suppose. Okay. Yeah. Little bit it's visible, because in this lecture I'm focusing more on CSS than HTML, right? So I have made it more clear that CSS is, I'm doing with CSS. Yeah. Then similarly, same things you can do with CSS also. Suppose you write your CSS and you'll use opacity property, and suppose you are using 0.9. Okay, so it will be little faded up right now. You can see, right? It's little faded. So this is how you can adjust the opacity of elements using opacity function. Now let's come to another property that is called text transform property. So what text transform property does, it transforms the text into different forms, like it can transform a text into uppercase, or it can transform it to a lower case, or it can do it, capitalization and something. So let me show you, like in this particular example. Suppose I want that this HTML, this thing HTML written, right now it's capitalized, but I don't want that it should be capitalized. I want that it should be small, right? Or it should be in lowercase. So what I can do here is I will go to HTML, okay, and I will write here text transform, and then I will write it lowercase. What it will do it now, see our HTML is changed into, now you can see our HTML is changed into lowercase, right? Similarly, like suppose I want this whole heading, hey, right? Where exactly is the heading? This one. This heading should also be capitalized, right? It should be capitalized, right? Because it's a heading. It should look big. So now let's do one thing. In this heading, let's make our whole heading into uppercase. Like all the letters in this word should be capitalized. So for doing this, what we can do here is we will be using uppercase property, text transform, and then we will click on uppercase. What it will be doing is it will make every single letter of the word capitalized, or I should say into uppercase. But if by chance I would have written capitalized, right? Let's see. Right now you can see all the letters here. It is in small letter, right? Now let me go there, and instead of lowercase, I should make it capitalized. So what it will do here is it will, now let's do one thing. It is that we should change this. So right now it's little lowercase, right? You can see everything here. It's in small letters. Now instead of lowercase, I should write here capitalize. So what it will do here is, see, the first letter becomes capital. This is how the capitalize property works. Okay. Now there are few more properties, but I guess that you guys will be not using more. One property is that none. It means no properties will be applied. It will be simply as a regular or by default original text. Okay. Second one is initial. So what initial does is initial will make this value remain the same. That means as you have written it, it will be exactly the same. I know most of you will be not using this property, but just for knowledge purposes, I'm telling you. And another one it is that is inherit. So what it does, suppose this particular HTML lies under this big container, okay, and I have given some sort of properties in this big container. So using inherit will use those properties into this particular HTML file, like this particular box. Like let me say, for example, this whole container, I have given that these all the letters inside should be capitalized, right? Let me show you first. See, this is our full box, right? This is our box. So let's do one thing. Right now it's text transform, and right now I will write it uppercase. Okay. So now what I have done here is I have given this property to the whole element. Okay. Let's see what I'm talking about. See, right now all the elements have become capital. But if I change this here, like suppose instead of inherit, I keep it as initial. So what you will be watching here is, see, all elements are having that property, but this particular HTML block, it's not having that property. It's using its initial property, which I have given it by default. Okay. So this is how the property works. Let me remove that uppercase, and suppose I give it capitalize. Okay. All the first letter of the words have become capital, but that HTML element is still same because it is using its initial value. Now, if I gives it none, okay, by chance, let me give it a none value. See, giving none also will make it use the default value. So this is how you can use text transform This is how you can use text transform properties to transform your text into different ways. Now, The next property which I'm going to tell you guys, it is font size property. I guess I have already used this property before. This was how I was using this property to give different sizes of the text. Like right here in this font size, I gave it a 30 pixels, right? Similarly, in this content, I gave it a 20 pixels. So I already have taught you about how the font size property works. It just adjusts the size of the font however you want. So let's come to the another property and skip this. So now you guys know what font size does. Let's come to another properties, that is line height. See, right now here in this particular example, you can see right now the line height of elements are little bit unadjusted, right? It's like, suppose if you want that you have to increase the line height, that elements, the height between the lines should be more. So you can adjust it by using a simple property known as line height property. Let's go to our paragraph tag, and inside this I should give it line height of 5 pixels. Okay. See. Right now you can see if when I gave it a 5 pixels, see it is completely distorted, right? Now let me show you how to adjust it using property. Let's go to paragraph, and here line height. By using our mouse, we can easily adjust. Like right now, you can see, right? See, when it's 0, it's completely into one line, right? When I will be slowly increasing that, see, now I give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. When the value is increasing, the gap between line is also increased. That is height. The height between lines is also increasing. So this is how exactly how line height property works. See, when I gave it a 27 pixel, see, this is the gap between the lines. So this is how you use line height property to adjust the height between the lines. Coming to our next property is the hover, or you can say, like in this example, you can see right now this particular links. It's quite little boring, right? Why I'm saying like that? Because see, when you comes here, when you hovers on this element, nothing happens. Exactly nothing. But to make it a little interesting, we can use hover property. Like right now, let's come to HTML, right? We want that magic should happen when we goes or when we hovers on HTML. So I will write HTML, then I will use hover. So what it does now, whatever properties I will write within this bracket, it will be implemented whenever I will hover on that HTML element. I should say color should become some kind of like black, okay? And opacity should be 1. Okay. Now let's have a look what exactly it happened. Right. Style. Yeah, here. Let it be 25. Now it will be fine. See, right now, when I will hover on HTML, see, this is how our hover property works. Whenever I'm hovering on HTML, the color is changing and the opacity, I have set it to 1. So opacity is also changing, right? Now, if I wanted, I can do a simple thing is, let's do one thing, let's add a little bit of font styles also, right? Let us go to font style, and then let's change it to italic. So whenever I will hover on that particular HTML block, it will change into italic, see, like that. So this is how hover property works, and this is how using hover you can change the elements and you can make it in some sort of different way. This much was it for today's video. If you are liking this series, then do give it a like and share these videos amongst your friend or the person who wants to learn CSS, right? And do subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified with the upcoming videos. and I will be trying my best to bring up with all these videos like that. So that much was it. See you. Have a good day. Bye bye. That much was it for today's lecture. See ya.